The generators are cranked up, and we're ready. Broadcasting from the Liberty Command Center at the super secret undisclosed location deep in the heart of the mountains somewhere in eastern Washington. The Rick Rydell radio program is now on the air.
Good afternoon, Spokane, and welcome back to the Rick Rydell radio program. This is your guest host, Michael Cathcart. I am the Government Affairs Director for the Spokane Home Builders Association. We've got a very good show for you today, and we'll get into that in 1 second. In the meantime, just a reminder to everybody, Rick Rydell is probably off on his fun vacation, wrestling bears with one arm tied behind his back, eating some tasty and endangered treats, I'm guessing, somewhere off in the wilderness. But we're going to have some fun of our own. I do want to give a quick shout-out to my lovely and beautiful girlfriend, Lauren Burns. Hello, Lauren. I hope you are having a great afternoon back there in Olympia. Alrighty, so our first guests today are a couple of folks, and we're going to be talking about elections and candidates today. That's kind of the running theme of our program. So we've got David Dowd on the phone line with us, and David Dowd is the Executive Director of Candidate Verification. And if you don't know what candidate verification is, we will explain that in just a quick second. Also in studio joining us is Jim Castrolang, and Jim is the chair of the Spokane County Democrats. So David and Jim, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks. Great to be here.
I think it's great that you guys have at least taken that step, and I'd love to see you take the next step and make it mandatory. At the Spokane Home Builders Association, that's what we did last year. We made it mandatory if you want to receive our endorsement that you have to go through the candidate verification. Last year, we had, I want to say it was something like 16 candidates that participated in the process. I think only a handful did not participate. And in fact, the very first candidate that went through it and I think enthusiastically went through it was the council president, Ben Stuckert, and we really appreciated that. And I know he has since talked about the positives of the program and the, the benefits that there is. So I think that's wonderful that the council president has taken part in that. And I'll just add.
It's nice to hear something good said about the council president on this show.
Well, on occasion, there is something good that you can say about anybody, I guess.
But I want to mention one other thing, too,
yeah.
Because besides being chair of the Spokane County Democrats, I'm also a pastor in the United Church of Christ. And for years, we've been required every 3 years, every few years, I should say, to get a background check. So anytime we want to seek a new position, we pay for it ourselves because we've learned in the church world, and I think we've seen it in a lot of businesses, that really the people who have something to hide don't usually want to say it.
Right.
And so it's a protection for everyone, and so it's a way of raising an alert flag to anyone who might want to get into politics to say, hey, make sure your background is not necessarily clean, but that, you've done what you need to do responsibly to move forward.
Well, and I don't think it necessarily has to do with having a clean, quote-unquote, background. It's just more about transparency for the public so that they know. Any candidate with any background is certainly, constitutionally can run for office, but does the public have a right to know about certain things in your background? And I would say that they do have that right to know and that you should participate in the program. And so what different organizations choose to use, how they choose to use that information is up to them. I think, David, you've talked in the past, maybe we'll get into this when we come back from the break, but you've talked in the past a little bit about some candidates, or at least one candidate in particular on the west side of the state who had something in their background and used candidate verification to get that out. So we're going to talk about that.
Listeners, to think of this as their resource. This is a public charity. The database is up for you as a voter, as a constituent, as a donor, and use the service because it's there for you to ask candidates questions, look at their background checks online, candidateverification.org, and we look forward to working with Spokane County more in the future, and I really appreciate the opportunity to work with you, Michael, and the Spokane Home Builders, and Rob Higgins, the Realtors, and Jim now with Spokane Democrats. Spokane is one of our leading counties in the state, and we look forward to a future partnership with you.
And Jim, anything you want to leave the listeners with regard to candidate verification?
I think this is only the beginning of talking about how we have more real information in our campaigns, and we hold each other accountable for good, healthy, honest dialogue on the issues, but make sure that it's based on some verifiable facts. And I think this is just the one piece of that, but there's a lot more work to do.
No, I think that's great. Thank you so much to the both of you. I would just say that I really think, as many organizations as possible should participate in this process.